what happened back then? Like, back then, did you foresee what it would look like today? Did you have any idea?
Not at all. I mean, traveling the world always means that you find some inspiration, but you never know how fast it's gonna be incorporated into the Danish bar scene. But I think it happens faster and faster. Where we are now, I would never expect that. But I think there are two arguments for why the industry is as it is right now, and that's probably the influence of a lot of international bartenders coming to Copenhagen working, and then like opening up for full-time positions as bartenders. I have to say that Ruby was probably the first bar that kind of put everything into perspective for all the other bars, and they created a scene that well, basically we said, well, we want to do bars if we can do it from Wednesday till Saturday, we're happy. When Guild opened, we had open on Tuesdays as well, but I mean, basically we were just serving wine and coffee. So I think that the influence of Ruby, in the beginning at least, really feeded the whole cocktail scene. One thing is standards, of course, but the whole education of the guests that are going to the bars, I think that these guys, they had a massive influence of what is happening now.
What do you think changed sort of on the consumer side? They must have changed, like what people are asking for in the bars have definitely changed just within the last 7 years that I've been a part of it. What sort of happened?
I think, well, basically the staff got more educated. We were looking more at nerdy stuff, of course, behind the bar. And the bartenders, they got better at what they were actually doing, not only in terms of the information level and the skills behind the bar, but also the customer awareness, how good they were at treating their guests. And this aspect has really come a long way in the past 5 years. In the beginning, I mean, I was probably a terrible bartender because I was just serving drinks. I could have stand at a service station, and I thought it was annoying and irritating if people, they were kind of looking for information. I knew about my menu and I knew about the spirits that I was serving, but I never thought about actually giving more of myself to the guests.
That's the service part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is probably one of the reasons why people want to go back to the cocktail or solid cocktail nights, so they only go to cocktail bars during a whole night. And that's because I think it's treated more professional than it was in the very beginning. A very important thing also is that when we started, we couldn't get anything but Diageo products, Pernod Ricard products, and a lot of Bols, Maxim products back then. But now you can get really interesting stuff and quality stuff that just wasn't around back then. It was, of course, it was produced, but no one wanted to import it, and it was super expensive. But now I think with the coming of not least Sprit & Co, we can get our hands on product that most bartenders want to use in making cocktails, and that also makes it more interesting for the guests in the very end.